Vanessa Guillen was born on September 30th, 1999, in the busy city of Houston, Texas. Her parents came from Mexico but made their home in the Lone Star State. Vanessa was one of 6 kids, and her home was always noisy and fun. From the time she was little, Guillen loved anything to do with the military. She would even play with her brother's toy gun, pretending to be a soldier. Her mom, Gloria, watched her and felt both happy and worried. She thought Vanessa might join the military someday. Vanessa was good at sports, too. She liked to lift weights in her garage, and people could see her running fast on the school's track or in cross-country races. She also played soccer and was quick on her feet, always looking for the win. But Vanessa was not just about sports and the military. She also had a deep sense of faith. She and her mom, Gloria, often went to church together on Sundays. They sat on the wooden benches and listened to the service. At their home, a special place was decorated with angel statues and pictures of the Virgin Mary. This showed how much faith meant to the Guillen family. Vanessa also had a gold necklace with a Virgin Mary charm that she never took off. It was like always carrying a little piece of her faith with her. In 2018, Vanessa walked across the graduation stage with honors, landing in the top 15% of her class. But for her, the real journey was just beginning. At 18, she turned her lifelong dream into a reality and enlisted in the Army. Soon after, she found herself at Fort Hood, a sprawling U.S. Army installation in Texas that's so large it might as well have its own zip code. Covering 340 square miles, this place isn't just big. It's the largest military installation in the world, a true Texas-sized fortress. Here, Vanessa became more than just a face in the crowd. She carved out her niche as a small arms repair soldier. Amongst the enormity of Fort Hood, which was recently renamed Fort Cavazos, Vanessa found her calling. And in a place that massive, finding your purpose is no small feat. In the heart of a strict military environment, Vanessa found herself adapting faster than she had anticipated. The rigorous routines, the crisp uniforms, and the stern faces all became familiar sights in no time. However, the military's cold embrace couldn't keep her from longing for the warmth of home. Every week, like clockwork, she'd make a trip back to her roots. During these visits, Vanessa would sit down with her mother, sipping on homemade tea, the aroma grounding her. As the evening light would filter through the curtains, Vanessa would open up, revealing that the Army life was not quite aligned with her expectations. With a heavy heart, she shared a darker truth. She was being sexually harassed by a superior at camp. Sitting in the glow of her childhood room, Vanessa's mother gently broached the topic. "Why not file a complaint?" she suggested, concern evident in her eyes. Vanessa hesitated, her thoughts drifting to a fellow woman officer who had once voiced her concerns. That brave soul had taken a stand only to have her pleas be brushed aside. The chilling memory of her colleagues' dismissed complaints made Vanessa wary of the path ahead. The weight of the decision pressed on her, but the fear of potential consequences held her back. In March 2020, amidst the hustle and bustle of life, fate played its part in bringing Juan Cruz and Vanessa together in a serendipitous encounter. Juan, not being from the military, brought a fresh perspective into Vanessa's life. With bated breath, he proposed to her, and with sparkling eyes, she said yes. Together, they became each other's pillar of strength, helping each other stay adaptable and resilient in life's challenges. A month later, Juan stood on the platform, watching as Vanessa boarded the bus back to Fort Hood. Their lips met one last time in a lingering kiss, a promise to see each other again soon. Little did they know, it was their final farewell. Before we continue, please take a moment to support our channel by liking this video, subscribing, and ringing the bell to receive notifications of all our newest videos covering true crime in the military. Now, let's get back to the story. On a day in April that started like any other, Vanessa texted her Fort Hood friend, Tay Hightower, saying she'd take a half day and go hiking with him. She even sent him a screenshot of the weather forecast, warning that rain might dampen their adventure. Nobody could have guessed that this would be her last communication with her close friend. Around 6 p.m. that same day, Tay felt a pang of unease when he noticed Vanessa's car still parked in its usual spot. Calls and texts went unanswered. Worried, he enlisted the help of C.J. Landy, another soldier and a friend of Vanessa. Together, they scoured the places she frequented, the running tracks she loved, the motor pole where she often worked, all to no avail. Back home, Vanessa's family grew anxious. A day had passed without a word from her, an eerie silence completely out of character. The air grew thick with dread as both her family and friends sensed that something was wrong. The clock ticked towards 10 p.m. Then Tay and CJ uncovered a crucial detail. Vanessa was last seen near the parking lot with Specialist Robinson, a fellow soldier. Robinson had joined the Army as a combat engineer in 2017 and was stationed at Fort Hood. He worked in a building adjacent to Vanessa's and was one grade senior to her. Tay found Robinson's number and CJ made the call, inquiring about Vanessa's whereabouts. Robinson responded chillingly indifferent. He scolded CJ for the intrusion and claimed that he hadn't spoken to Vanessa despite being one of the last people seen with her. Meanwhile, Vanessa's fiancé, Juan, and her sister hit the road, racing toward Fort Hood as concern morphed into genuine fear. By the morning of April 23rd, they arrived to find that Vanessa was officially missing. A police complaint was filed, pulling in not just military police, but also local law enforcement and the U.S. Army Criminal Investigation Command. Vanessa's fiancé took it upon himself to plaster the area around Fort Hood with missing person posters. The investigation was now in full swing, and Robinson was first on the list for questioning. He told authorities that Vanessa had come to his building solely for paperwork before heading to her work area at the motor pool. A twist emerged. Vanessa's last text was about a gun's serial number, and it was sent to Robinson. Robinson's story began to unravel. He told authorities that his conversation with Vanessa was strictly professional, starkly contrasting with what he had told CJ. His cold attitude got even worse when he laughed at Vanessa's sister, who was trying to find out more about the last time that they saw each other. Now, Robinson was getting attention from the police and the media, who were all trying to figure out what had happened to Vanessa, a 21-year-old missing soldier. The plot turned unexpectedly when Robinson was called in for another round of questioning. This time, he claimed that after briefly speaking with Vanessa, he left to spend time with his girlfriend, Cecily Aguilar. Cecily was the wife of Keon Aguilar, a former Fort Hood soldier. She had started an affair with Robinson after moving to the base with her husband. After separating from Keon in February 2020, Cecily had moved in with Robinson but remained legally married. The police talked to Cecily to check if Robinson's story was true, and she fully agreed with him. Amidst the backdrop of a lingering COVID pandemic, social media was abuzz. Hashtags like #FindVanessa went viral. Questions were raised about women's safety in the military, amplifying concerns about a toxic culture within the ranks. Vanessa's family pushed the authorities to intensify their search efforts. Police heightened the investigation, revealing only one new lead. Vanessa's last known phone activity was near the Leon River, offering no further clues. But on May 18, 2020, the investigation shifted dramatically. Two pieces of evidence threw a spotlight back onto Robinson. Firstly, he was seen wheeling a heavy box out of his armory room, the very room he had been in when Vanessa disappeared. Secondly, a deep dive into Robinson's phone records showed multiple calls to Cecily at odd hours. When questioned, Cecily initially claimed she couldn't find her phone, explaining why Robinson had been calling her. But then she changed her story, saying they had gone out briefly. The inconsistencies began piling up, making both Robinson and Cecily look increasingly suspect. In the following weeks, investigators unearthed something else. Robinson's phone had pinged at Leon River, where Vanessa's phone had been last active. There was mounting evidence against Robinson and Cecily Aguilar, but not enough for an arrest. Early in June, the atmosphere became even more tense. Vanessa's mother held a press conference, revealing that Vanessa had been sexually harassed by a senior official and had been too tearful to report it. She also accused the military of not taking her daughter's disappearance seriously. The outcry reached a fever pitch on June 12th, when hundreds protested outside Fort Hood, compelling the military to intensify their search for Vanessa. Then, a grim discovery. Skeletal remains were found near a Texas field, but they belonged to 10 other soldiers who had gone missing in August 2019. The gruesome find was shocking, but Vanessa remained a mystery. The investigation took another dark turn on June 21st, when a search of Robinson's phone history led authorities to a charred site near Leon River. It looked like a heavy plastic box had been burned. although Vanessa's body was yet to be located. Finally, on June 30th, scattered human remains emitting a foul odor were found, and strands of hair matching Vanessa's were visible. Subsequent analysis revealed that Vanessa's body had been horrifically dismembered and mixed with lime and concrete. Her teeth were so badly damaged that investigators concluded she had been brutally killed with a hammer. These findings shocked the community and the entire country, casting a shadow on the very institutions designed to protect us. Vanessa was no longer a missing person. She was a victim of tragedy, betrayal, and a systemic failure to protect those who serve in the armed forces. It was at this time that Cecily Aguilar broke her silence, claiming she didn't kill Vanessa and only helped Robinson dispose of the body. This admission was a bombshell, exposing the culprits. Cecily described the gut-wrenching details, recounting how Robinson had killed Vanessa in the arms room and packed her body into a large box. The two dismembered the 21-year-old and burned her remains in 3 separate locations. They even returned on April 26th during the investigation to burn her remains again and mix them with concrete. Unaware of Cecily Aguilar's arrest and her cooperation with law enforcement, Erin Robinson received a haunting call. Cecily's voice trembled as she relayed, quote, "Baby, they found pieces, unquote. The chilling phrase referred to the gruesome remains of Army Specialist Vanessa Guillen. In a state of panic, Robinson quickly reached out to his mother, urging her to dismiss any malicious rumors about him. Soon after, he evaded his fellow soldiers, initiating a frenzied manhunt. However, the chase ended when Robinson, concerned and desperate, ended his life with a gunshot. As the case unfolded, Cecily Aguilar faced the justice system, confronting severe charges for her involvement in the murder and tampering with evidence. Ultimately, she was handed a 30-year sentence in federal prison after pleading guilty to 1 count of accessory after the fact and 3 counts of making false statements. The underlying motives behind this heinous crime remain enigmatic. While there wasn't an evident love triangle, rumors persisted that Vanessa had stumbled upon a clandestine affair between Cecily and Robinson. This discovery could have had significant implications, especially since Cecily was legally wedded to a former soldier. Such a revelation might have jeopardized Robinson's esteemed military career. Consequently, the fear of exposure could have driven him to act impulsively, resulting in Vanessa's brutal death. This tragic story highlights concerns about the safety of women in the military. It raises questions about how women are protected on bases and how seriously the Army takes sexual harassment. After Vanessa's death, many wonder if others are too afraid to report harassment. This event has led to increased criticism of how the U.S. Army treats women. In response to Vanessa's murder, President Joe Biden passed the I Am Vanessa Guillen Act in 2021. This law changed how the military handles sexual harassment, making it a crime and ensuring such cases are handled outside the usual chain of command. That's it for this episode of Vice Confidential. If this investigation has caught your attention and you want to stay updated on stories that matter, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Thank you for joining us as we confront the urgent issues shaping our world today. See you on the other side.